So, meine Damen und Herren, herzlich willkommen zu einer weiteren Runde Let's Play Zero Escape, 9 Hours, 9 Persons, 9 Doors. Wir sind wieder im Flowchart. Der Lärm im Hintergrund kommt dadurch, dass ich gerade, da ich ja nach dem letzten Ende aufgehört habe, wie soll man sagen, da gab es dann so diese Sache mit, ja, jetzt, wenn du diesen Spielstand lädst, bist du wieder am Anfang. Das ist jetzt nichts Schlimmes, wir haben halt nur dieses Störgeräusch von der Startsequenz. Jetzt schauen wir mal, entscheiden wir uns jetzt hier mal anders. Ich habe ja nach wie vor meinen wunderbaren 12-seitigen Würfel, der für viele Entscheidungen einfach perfekt ist. 1 bis 6, wir bleiben bei der Entscheidung. 7 bis 12, wir ändern die Entscheidung und gehen durch die andere Tür. 2, wir bleiben bei der Entscheidung. Jetzt hätten wir hier 3 Möglichkeiten und unten haben wir wieder eine Möglichkeit. Okay. Hier 3, 7 oder 8. 2, es wäre jetzt die 3, da sind wir noch nicht durchgegangen. Wir skippen bis zur Entscheidung. So, das ist ausgegraut. Warum, weiß ich auch nicht so ganz. Wir sind da noch nicht durchgegangen. Ich sag jetzt mal, wir möchten gerne durch Tür 3. Oh, ja, weil ich noch im Skip-Modus war. Scheiße.
3, 4, 5 or 6, 7, 8.
Entschuldigung. So, I want to go through door number 3. No, you can't. Huh? Why? Because it's impossible. If we split ourselves into 3 and 3, then we give up on going through door 3. Why? The bracelet numbers for the 6 of us are 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. There are 3 combinations that can go through door 3. With 3 people, 3, 4, 5 or 6, 7, 8. Ja, okay, weiter. Jetzt, Entschuldigung, dass da jetzt ein bisschen was weg war.
That's it. Of course, 2 teams can't go through the same door.
I see. That means one team would get left behind.
That's right.
That doesn't happen if we go through door 7 or 8?
No, they're fine. We've got 3 options.
Sana began to explain.
Option A, have 3, 5, and 8 go through door 7, and 4, 6, 7 go through door 8. Option B, 4, 5, and 7 go through 7, and 3, 6, and 8 go through 8. Option C, 3, 6, and 7 go through 7, and 4, 5, and 8 get 8.
Aber für die, die nicht so hundertprozentig auf dem Schirm haben, bei welcher Situation wir gerade sind. Das ist kurz nachdem wir nachdem Snake verschwunden ist und Ace sich betäubt hat.
Those are the only 3 options. That's it.
So, setze ich mich kurz etwas bequemer hin. Perfekt.
At least if we want to get all 6 of us out of here.
Wait.
That was when Junpei realized. Plan A divides into 2 teams. 3, 5, 8 and 4, 6, 7. Plan B divides into 2 teams. 4, 5, 7 and 3, 6, 8. Plan C divides into 2 teams. 3, 6, 7 and 4, 5, 8.
But that means...
There was one thing they all had in common.
5 and 6 can never be on the same team. If we want all 6 of us to go through a door, then June and I can't go into the same one.
June and Junpei had been friends when they were kids. He trusted her more than anyone else on the ship. If he chose 7 or 8, he'd be taken away from her. Was that something he was prepared to do?
Have you mulled it over enough, or do you need more time? Anyway, that's the deal, so think it over. You've got 2 choices, 7 or 8. You can't choose 3. If you choose 3, you're gonna be leaving 3 people behind to die. So what are you gonna do? 7 or 8? Time to choose.
Junpei thought hard. After thinking it over, his conclusion was, ja, jetzt können wir tatsächlich sagen, das ist nämlich das, was wir jetzt machen müssen, um dieses Ergebnis mit Tür 3 zu kriegen. Ja, wir gehen tatsächlich durch Tür 3. Wir nehmen das Risiko in Kauf. Nur wie will er das machen? Wie will er die anderen überzeugen?
Sorry, Santa, but I still want to go through door 3.
What? That's nuts! You've got to be crazy! Why the hell are you so obsessed with that door?
I'm just...
Junpei paused. He swallowed the words he'd been about to say.
I'm just curious about door 3. That's all.
That doesn't explain shit!
I've got a reason. I'd be happy to explain it to you if you'll just come with me.
With that, he began walking toward the door. Their curiosity likely getting the better of them, the others followed. A few of them looked a little suspicious, but Junpei told himself that wouldn't matter. He kept walking and kept silent. Eventually, they arrived at the number 3 door. Junpei stopped.
I'm curious about the red. 7, would you mind authenticating for me?
Why?
Please, just do it.
He stared at Junpei for a moment, then grunted and laid his palm heavily on the scanner.
Happy?
Yeah, thanks. The number 7 has been entered into the red. Next is June. Please touch the red just like 7 did.
Jumpy, what are you trying to figure out?
Yep. I think
Junpei thought about his answer for a moment.
I might have found another way out.
What?
Really?
That got them excited. Just as Junpei had intended.
Now please, June.
Oh, okay.
7 plus 6 is 13. 1 plus 3 is 4. With those 2 numbers in the red, Junpei had what he wanted. He casually placed his own hand on the scanner, and the 3rd asterisk blinked on. 4 plus 5 equals 9.
Alright, the only people who haven't authenticated now are Santa, Clover, and Lotus.
So, what's your point?
You don't get it. Think about it.
Huh?
What's the sum of your number and Clover's?
12.
And what's the digital root of that?
3.
Which is Santa's number. By the way, Lotus, what's the number that's currently in the red?
7 plus 6 plus 5 equals 18. It would be 9, right?
Yes, and what will the digital root be if you add 3 to that?
3. The door's number.
There you go.
Hey, wait a minute. What the hell are you up to?
I'm not up to anything. I'm just waiting.
Waiting for what?
I'm waiting for the balance to shift. Santa, or Lotus and Clover. Once one of you moves, the others won't have a choice. So I'm waiting.
Junpei laid his hand almost casually on the lever.
You son of a bitch! You tricked us! And all that stuff you were going on about is all bullshit!
Bullshit? Huh. I don't think so. Didn't I tell you I'd figured out another way to get out of here? This is it.
Why the hell would you do something like this?
Junpei glanced at June.
Jumpy?
You did this just so you could go through the same door as June. That's it?
Santa was furious. His face was red and flecks of spit flew from his lips as he spoke. Junpei closed his eyes calmly and then opened them again.
So, who's it going to be?
Man merkt echt, Junpei kann ein richtiges Arschloch sein, wenn es drauf ankommt. Also als ich das erste Mal diese Szene hatte, dachte ich mir echt, Alter, das kannst du nicht abziehen. Aber ja, sieht gerade so aus.
Santa, or Lotus and Clover?
Shit!
Let's go, Clover. Huh?
Lotus leapt forward. She grabbed Clover by the sleeve and ran for Junpei and the door.
Fuck!
Caught by surprise, Santa froze for a moment, then shot forward like a bullet from a gun. Lotus had a head start, but Santa had the advantage in size and speed. Almost immediately, he passed Lotus and Clover.
Oh, no, wait!
Santa did not hesitate.
Ah!
He slammed his hand down on the red.
This is insane! This isn't right!
He glared at Junpei, his chest heaving.
Yeah, well, you may be right.
Junpei's voice was cold, but not without effort.
But
He turned to the red and pulled the lever. With a sound of metal on metal, the door opened. It would only remain so for 9 seconds. There was no time to think.
go.
Junpei and his 3 reluctant companions jumped into the door's gaping mouth, one after another. No sooner did they enter than an all too familiar noise sounded from their left wrists. The detonators had activated. Junpei looked back only once and saw Lotus and Clover on the other side of the closing door.
No!
They stood still, stopped where they had been when Santa reached the red. The defeat and desperation on their faces tore at Junpei's heart. Then the door closed, and they were gone.
You son of a bitch, Junpei! This isn't fair!
Santa rounded on Junpei, lightning crackling in his eyes and his knuckles white.
Do you realize what you just did? You leave them out there, and they can't...
Shut it! That's enough!
It hadn't been Junpei that spoke, but Seven.
We gotta find the dead or none of this is gonna matter!
The clock was ticking. The dead was their only choice of survival. Unless they could find it and deactivate the detonators, the 4 of them would be...
We got less than a minute left! No time for screwing around! Get moving!
Damn it! You and I are not done yet, bastard!
They scattered and began to scour the room. The deactivation device was nowhere to be found.
Where the hell is it?
Corridors stretched out in 3 directions, but every one was blocked off by a wall of metal. There was only one way out. One other door.
Over there! It's gotta be behind the door!
Seven ran for the door, a rusty iron thing, Entschuldigung. His large hands grabbed hold of the handle and pulled.
Damn, it's pitch dark inside.
Can't see a thing!
Junpei stuck his head through the door and looked around the room.
No, wait!
Almost immediately, he spotted the blinking red light on the right
I
wall.
found it! The dead's right over here!
He stepped into the room.
Ugh. What? The floor's slippery!
He stopped and glanced down at his feet. What was?
Hey! What the hell are you doing?
There's something...
Get over there!
Junpei felt Seven's heavy hand against his back and stumbled across the room. The other 3 piled in behind him. They all felt immediately that something was wrong. Nothing that could be easily identified, only a sense that that something terrible shared the room with them. But there was no time to say so.
Quick! Get to the dead!
They all started running. In the dark, it was hard to tell where the wall was. All they could see was the tiny red light blinking at them over and over and over.
There it is!
In quick succession, they all slammed their hands against the scanner panel. Seven leaned against the wall, gulping air. As his breathing began to return to normal, he glanced at his left wrist and grunted.
It stopped. It stopped.
Junpei could hear him laughing in the dark, but could barely make out the larger man's face.
I don't think I'll ever get used to doing this.
What the...
The sound of retching came from Santa's direction.
What the hell is this smell? This is vile. I'm gonna puke.
So desperate had they been in their race to the dead that no one had noticed the horrible smell that pervaded the room. It was a terrible, nauseating stench, like burnt and rotten meat. Adrenaline had drowned it out, but now it rolled over Junpei in waves, forcing itself into his nose with every breath he took.
Oh, you're right. Oh, this is...
He felt his stomach clench and bile rise up in his throat. This is auch blöd.
Let's get the lights on first. There's a switch over here.
The light that spilled in the room, in from the door, sowieso. Sure. The light that spilled in from the door barely illuminated a small switch plate next to the door. Slowly, with the toll of the last few minutes apparent in his gait, Seven walked toward it. He stopped as he got close and extended his fingers toward the switch.
Okay, guys, I'm flipping it on.
There was a soft click as the lights came on. Just as the light turned on, June took in a short breath and... A scream echoes through the room. Junpei's breath stopped in his throat. His heart ceased to beat. Time froze. His mind scrambled to make sense of what he saw before him.
What?
Hey. Oh, this is...
What was left of the body sat in a sea of blood. Chunks of flesh torn from the body sat in the blood like tiny islands in a great red sea. A vast ragged hole had been torn in the torso, and what remained of his intestines spilled out of it like fresh spaghetti. Smaller chunks of meat had splattered against the wall and became stuck there as they dried. Globules of yellowish fat and left... Ja, eigentlich kennen wir diesen Text ja schon. Aber trotzdem. Globules of yellowish fat had left trails like tiny slugs as gravity pulled them down the wall, even as they had tried to it.
Looks like an explosion.
Seven's voice was low and strained.
Just like the Ninth Man.
Also, ich meine, wir alle kennen diese Szene im Grunde, nur da waren andere schon vorher da und jetzt sehen wir die halt zum ersten Mal, die Leiche. Und wir wissen auch, wer das ist.
The detonator in his bracelet set off the bomb in his gun.
Oh god. The bone is coming out of his left arm.
It's definitely an open fracture.
It looked as though the explosion had been quite powerful. His legs were both bent in an odd, unnatural way. His left arm had split open, exposing the painfully white bone of his ulna. His bracelet lay next to him. It seemed to have hit the wall hard enough to have shattered the display, which lay on the ground in pieces.
The face is the worst.
Yeah, you can't even tell who it is.
Half of his head had simply collapsed. The blood coating almost made it look like raw pizza dough covered in tomato sauce. His clothes, too, were covered in blood. The burgundy tie, the white shirt, the jacket with the yellow piping, and the grey slacks.
But the clothes are...
They were all familiar to Junpei.
Is that... Snake?
Santa's voice wavered as he spoke, his mouth dry.
Oh my god.
Finally, Junpei spoke.
Why did this happen?
Suddenly, June was screaming, her voice broken. It was an eerie scream full of insanity and not entirely human.
No! No! No!
She shook her head violently and grabbed fistfuls of her own hair. Junpei could hear the sound of hair tearing.
Stop! Calm down!
He grabbed for her wrist.
Hey!
But as he did, June leapt up and ran. Toward the exit.
Please! Get me out of here! You have to let me out of here!
She screamed at the door and her fists slammed against it with a hollow sound. Junpei could see drops of blood on her knuckles.
Why are you doing these horrible things to us? What did we do to deserve this?
June.
She screamed again, a desperate, mindless cry, Her fists flared against the door.
Get me out of here! Please! Please! Just let me out!
June!
Junpei couldn't watch anymore. He ran to June and wrapped his arm around her, pulling the screaming girl away from the door.
Calm down.
No! Get off of me! Let me go! Let me go!
Please, calm down.
She scrambled for a moment, her legs skittering across the floor, but her resistance didn't last long. As suddenly as her outburst had begun, it was over. The manic energy disappeared, and her body went limp in Junpei's arms. June collapsed toward the floor, and Junpei knelt down with her. He felt drops of something warm and wet. Was she crying? A moment later, she began to sob. Her shoulders shook, and great hot tears rolled down her face like rain.
We're gonna be fine. It's gonna be alright, June. It's going to be okay, Connie.
Her name was a whisper.
I'll be here with you, okay?
She nodded once.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Jumpy.
Her trembling voice pulled at Junpei's heart. He stroked her hair gently. His face was so close to her. The scent of her hair was nostalgic.
Do you feel better?
Yes, but I'd like to stay here. For a little while, at least. Jumpy's body is so warm.
Several minutes passed before June's tears had dried. Junpei stood up. He bent down, put his arms under June's, and helped her to her feet. They didn't speak. Neither did Seven or Santa. A person was dead. They had died in that room in a terrible way. Junpei knew there was no way he could make himself forget that. There was no way any of them could forget it, but mourning would do no good. They spread out to search the room, but each felt as if their heart was made of lead.
We better get to it.
Jo, damit sind wir jetzt in einem weiteren Escape Room, nämlich dem Shower Room. Hier werde ich aber erstmal abspeichern. Und zwar wieder hier. So, ich wechsle ja immer den Spielstand so ein bisschen. Und weiter geht's in der nächsten Folge. Denn ich finde, mit 20 Minuten so eine reine Gesprächsfolge passt schon ganz gut. Und in der nächsten Folge geht's dann weiter mit dem Escape Room. Ich hoffe, ihr habt Spaß. Lasst Meinungen, Ideen, sonst was da. Ist jetzt dann klar, wir wussten schon, dass in diesem Raum niemand liegt. Also wer in den letzten Folgen aufgepasst hat, für den ist das nichts Neues. Aber trotzdem, es ist keine schöne Sache, wenn man den als Erster entdeckt. Also dann, bis zum nächsten Mal. Cheerio!